Hi, everyone. Hey, welcome. Welcome to our almost the end of this book study. I can't believe it. It's just, I think we'll finish next week. We'll finish this one next week, and we'll send an invitation so everyone can come to the Wake book study, the Angelo DeLullo. It's amazing content. I mean, anything you pick up at this level is going to be amazing. I was looking at and we'll finish Angelo's around, we'll finish Angelo's book probably November sometime and then skip December and then whatever book study we pick up next year. I'm looking at some Jean Klein books that Lisa and I are uh, also reading, and they're fantastic. They're very clear, they're very simple, they're digestive, and they're super nourishing and enlightening as we continue on this depth of our journey experience in awakening. And that's what this is all about. This is all about just, discussing the content of awakening, awakeness, and it's alive, and we keep it alive by talking about it and sharing it. And thanks everyone for being here. We'll start on page or saying 98, which is page 99. And these are some really, we'll probably go to 105 today if we'll stop there if we buzz through them. It looks like they're pretty easy ones, but you never know where someone wants to share. And who would like to read? Anyone would like to read 98? Looks like we have a shallow crowd today. We're half size. I don't know where everyone is. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for raising your hand. And Barbara, keep your hand up.
Okay. Right. Jesus
Go.
said, oh,
Oh, I was
no.
going to say, go Toronto.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
This is 10 years old. So,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Jesus said, the kingdom of the Father is like a certain man who wanted to kill a powerful man. In his own house, he drew his sword and stuck it into the wall in order to find out whether his hand could carry through. Then he slew the powerful man. The enemy we wish to slay is ignorance, our identity with ourselves as body minds. The weapon is the sword of truth. We begin by being truthful with ourselves. Then we take that truth into the world and live it. Nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kingdom
So,
of the go ahead.
well, I was going to say, in his own house, so within, he drew his sword of truth and stuck it into the wall in order to find out whether his hand could. So it's like you test yourself before you bring it outwards. Is that what he means by that, do you think?
It sounds good to me. It's that's what I wrote a little note in his own mind, and I didn't really think about sticking it into the wall in order to find whether his hand could carry through. So I think that sounds right. That to investigate
Mhm.
um, his own mind, wanted to, the words kind of put it very raw, like wanted to kill a powerful man. It's almost like language we wouldn't use,
Mhm.
but it is it is the powerful egoic identity that had the keys and was driving what
Mhm,
was happening,
mhm,
and that has to be slown or killed. So yeah, that sounds right.
yeah, yeah. I notice he does use those powerful terms, even I guess down the road we talks about being a son of a harlot, so I guess that's a bad thing.
I had the same feeling when I read that. I went, that sounds kind of cruel, crude.
A little harsh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. But it does have I think it does have a deeper meaning that we can connect with. The world is sort of the harlot, the whore that we all have bought into. And I don't even like that term when I say it because it sounds terrible.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
indeed. But I like Cameron's how what he has to say about this one. So
yeah, yeah. Very good.
yeah,
Thank you,
okay, you're welcome.
Lynn. And Barbara, would you like to read 99 or say anything about 98?
Yeah, we left off at 100, eh?
Oh, we did?
Yeah, but that's okay. We were going to read 100 last time, but we've got to 99.
Oh,
But that's okay. I do not mind doing this twice. It's wonderful.
well,
Good morning, everyone.
wait, how did we miss this one? Because uh, I, I don't remember doing this one last week.
The disciples with his mother and his father, and that we had just gotten to that.
Oh, so we just did 98,
Yeah, and we turned to 99, and we
and the
were going to start reading it,
disciples.
and then we didn't. Yeah.
Oh, so did we skip 98 last week?
No, we read it.
Oh, so we did it twice.
It's okay.
Okay. I think
In,
I must
in,
have
in
put
our
one.
following, we always understand that repetition is perfect.
Yes,
It's
right, right.
necessary.
Okay. So we're
Yeah.
on 100?
Well, we'll do 99. I like this one.
Okay.
Sure. The
Okay.
disciple said to him, "Your brothers and your mother are standing outside." He said to them, "Those here who do the will of my Father are my brothers and my mother. It is they who will enter the kingdom of my Father." When the veil of ignorance is lifted, when we are no longer identified with our body minds, then we become transparent. Other like-minded lovers of truth and equally transparent to us, and together we are one. This is love, and is the highest form of relationship, closer even than brother or mother. This is the kingdom of which Jesus speaks. See, I find a lot of separation in both things. I just do. I get that like-minded people. I think that we start classifying and labeling and naming ourselves. To this, we find out when the veil of ignorance is lifted, we're all one. It doesn't matter if you believe, you don't believe, you follow, you don't follow. It doesn't matter. We're all made from the same stuff. We're all one thing happening of the same things. So to me, I mean, I love talking to people that are I guess, like-minded, and lovers of truth. However, once you're in truth, you just see the truth. You don't see people like, I can't explain it. It doesn't categorize anymore.
Well, yeah, for one who is established as the truth, yes. And still, everyone isn't. And these kinds of descriptions are very helpful in discussing uh, the the transition from ignorance to presence. And in these kinds of descriptions, even though they are dualistic in the language, they're really pointing to the movement from two to one, to the from duality or from the seeming separate self to the thing that is always one.
But see, then, okay, so if I say I'm going to meet a street person, who's in truth? Him or me? You see what I mean? We're all based from love. We're whatever, given here, brought here through grace, life itself. And in life itself, there is no like-minded lovers or no people of truth or don't know truth. It's all one thing to me.
Okay,
And
okay,
so,
so
I mean, there's no division in any way. That what is it? The good man is the fallen man's teacher. Like, so there's always something happening in relationship to a situation. So it's an opportunity. So one person may not take the opportunity to see the awareness of the situation, another will, but the truth still lies there.
right, yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm not sure. Um, I don't. I'm not sure. I get what you're pointing to though. Where because we're really just because like-mindedness is what everyone here is when they log in and they attend this book study is a like-minded interest. If I had my kids on
Right.
this call, except for the one that's in the admin right now, Lindsay, if my other kids were on this call, they'd be going, Dad, what are you talking about? That's crazy stuff. So but everyone here that's logged in is what he's terming like-minded. So we're all like-minded. We're all interested in these matters as we
Yes.
have discovered our true nature, our true self. So it's just a way of discussing that the shift from person to our true nature presence.
Right. Like I would think someone who isn't even aware, right? Even if they're not aware, they're still made from love. It doesn't matter.
Oh, of
It's
course. Yeah, everything
right.
is. The rocks are.
I guess I just feel like sometimes this stuff gets into the Christian thing of, well, you're the believer, you're the saved one, and that's not the saved people, and it's groups of people, and it's me and others, and then I kind of struggle with that. I do. I have to
Yeah.
admit that.
But that can only be the mind that's
Yeah.
struggling.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I needed
Thank
that.
you, Barbara. Okay, let's move to 100. I'm sorry I got the pages off. I dropped a card in the book and I must have put it between the wrong pages to mark it. But who would like to read 100? Lynn.
Okay. Just if I may, going back to, can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Hear you
Okay. Oh,
fine.
okay. Good. Good. When it says, I don't want to get tripped too much upon the words of Jesus, but he said, "Those here who do the will of my Father," and I think I struggle with that right there. The will of my Father. It's like just ignore that.
Well, that's kind of what Barbara was referencing, and I think don't skip that. Don't skip that. That's like that's it. The will of my Father. So bring that close. Bring that to take that. This is why I also don't like the male pronouns and the Christian stuff because I raised I learned, I started there, but the will of my Father, if you bring that into the will of presence, The will of I am, the will of the will of the Father is nothing other than the will of your pure presence, the enveloping of God's infinite being, which is you. So when you take it, and I've been able to retranslate that and transcend it in my own mind and experience, but it took a little bit of work to take the Father to this, to presence, to the pureness of I am.
Right. I think I struggle with the word will. It's like I'm the boss here. Which
Well, it is
really, yes.
the
Okay.
absolute. It's
Okay.
saying that the absolute is in charge, and
Right.
it's
And
only
I
the
think
ego that wants to be separate and have autonomy and do its own
uh
separated, divisioned self. So that's a good. Just be aware of that because
thank you.
That's the cleanup energy that's cleaning up the energy, even the subtle energy of separation.
Yeah. It's like you're not the boss of me. A
Uh,
little resistance there on my part, but yes, thank you.
well,
Thank you
if it's
both.
in
Yes.
context, it fits because
Yes.
if you're not telling me what to do. So in context of what we're discussing, yes, very, very relevant. And there is a mind that is stirred with that idea.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Thank you. So shall I go with
Yep.
100 now then?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
They showed Jesus a gold coin and said to him, Caesar's men demand taxes from us. He said to them, Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give God what belongs to God, and give me what is mine. Caesar represents the physical universe. God is that which is the physical universe. Wait, God is that in which the physical universe has its existence. And Jesus stands for consciousness, life itself. So, give the physical universe what belongs to the physical universe. Give God what belongs to God. The physical universe has its existence. And give Jesus consciousness. And give me what is mine. And give consciousness what is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So conform to the laws of the world. Conform to because the Course in Miracles has a verse that a lot of course students love to latch onto. I'm under no laws but God's. So I don't have to pay attention to the physical, to the body, to that cop over there, to speeding, doing 90 and a 60 or whatever. But so that's a kind of a not a good use of that verse in the course. But what is being said here is he said, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So pay your taxes, follow the rules of the world, and give God what belongs to God. So give God your abiding, your devotion. And God, what is God? It's not out there. It's give awareness your attention and your love. Give your true nature, which is the same true nature of everyone and everything. Give that uh, your attention and give me what is mine is this, and this is where it gets tricky. This is the give me what is mine is the me here is also you. The me here is you consciousness. Give consciousness, which is the same as what God is. It's the same as what the universe and presence is. You could put all those, the thousand names for God. But this is where when Jesus says me in the Bible or the Course or this context, he's not speaking of the man. He's speaking of what you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you, Lynn.
Yeah.
And Barbara, would you add to that or read the next one?
Yeah, I would. It's divided out here. God is that in which the physical universe has its existence. Existence and consciousness is one thing. And Jesus is, when he says stand for life itself or awareness, because everything is consciousness.
Yeah.
It's the awareness to the consciousness.
True.
That we're aware of it. Many people, this veil is the people that are not aware. They don't have the awareness of that life existence. They don't know, they don't have that. They don't see it that way. They don't experience it that way or express it that way. And that's okay. I mean, one day they may, who knows, right? I don't know. But we're all still in consciousness. We can't be without it. Its existence.
Yes. Yeah.
There's nothing outside of consciousness. So I would think Jesus really meant when it says, give me what is mine, is the awareness to that. The awareness to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
And people, when you read this for the first time and put a question mark and you puzzle by what is this thing? Sometimes, for me, I needed to hear it 10 times and digest it and let it be revealed. And often it can be from a comment that you just made or a comment that I made or someone else makes that brings clarity, brings a saying it in just a certain way where the mind relaxes and awareness sees itself and knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Barbara. And Carol, you want to read or comment?
Hi. No, I was going to comment, but I can read too.
Okay.
I was just going to say that when I read this, Jesus or Buddha or any of the teachers they're like manifestations, as consciousness is like the first manifestation of the attributes of the one, of itself, of awareness. So I kind of see it as to experience this in this dream, to experience and explore the truth. It happens through examining piece by piece. It's like manifestations of love. And so these symbols, these seeming perfect men, which are, they are showing the sleepy spirit, or the consciousness that thinks it's a separate entity, showing it how to be, how to act, how to manifest as its true self in this world.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. That just a few things that you just said, it can be powerful for someone to hear that and say, oh, so I think that's very clear. And they are the manifestation of what we all are. And this is a manifestation of the same thing. Yeah. So before you read, I wonder if Sandra has her hand up for this one or wants to read the next one.
I have a comment about this one.
Okay.
When you were discussed, like you said, things that people say just bring to mind. When you were talking about the roles of the world, and then what came to my mind was, when I was young, I was a rebel. I wanted to rebel against everything. My parents, the rules. I went to college in the 70s, protesting against Vietnam. I mean, I was just a rebel. And when you were talking about the rules of the world and give to Caesar what is Caesar, what came to my mind is how dramatically I have changed and how accepting I am of things. And most things just don't matter that much anymore. But then I also realized sometimes that the personality of Sandy wants to take the spirituality teachings and find something to rebel about in those too. I mean, it's just so insidious, the ego. So give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't matter. Just relax. Just be love, it's, I don't have to fight anymore. I can just live in a peaceful zone, awareness of, yeah, that's happening out there, but really, it doesn't matter so much. The acceptance, I guess it's gone from rebellion to acceptance, to surrender.
Yeah.
That's what came to mind when you were just discussing this.
Yeah. See, that's where the suffering ends too.
Yes. No more.
That's when the charge comes off of things,
Yeah.
the things that we're so fixed on. Oh, that I can't. I'm not living with that. You relax into okay, and peace reveals itself as your dominant, as your
Yeah.
true nature experience. It's always here.
And even in the teachings, having come to the non-dual teachings, there was like a part of me that wanted to go, that's not non-dual, that's not non-dual, that's not non, it's just, and I just let all that go because it's what it's trying to communicate, not how exactly it's said.
Yeah, I think we all do that too.
Especially in the Course of Miracles. I mean, you just can find lots of things that seem like they're not in line with that teaching, but it's all okay because there is a deeper truth that resonates regardless of the words that are used.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandra. And Carol, you want to read the next one?
Sure. 101.
Is that 101? Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus said, "Whoever does not hate his father and his mother as I do cannot become a disciple to me. And whoever does not love his father and his mother as I do cannot become a disciple to me. For my mother, but my true mother gave me life." When Jesus says he hates his mother and father, it is the lie of his identity as their son, bound in a physical body that he detests, together with all the societal structures that maintain that untruth. His real father and mother are those forces of love and life which truly gave birth to him. I see in this that the hate or the issue comes from the bundle, from the personality that is that consciousness is taking on as itself. That there really isn't a hating of a mother and father, because there would have to be an actual, there might be the expression of that or the happening of that expression, but there's really nothing hating anything, because there aren't two separate, there's not something to hate another.
But what I mean, I don't agree. The words that are used, like hate, could be softened with whoever does not release his mother and his father and his mother, as I do, as your true identity, cannot become a disciple of me, cannot understand the teachings that I'm presenting, and whomever does not love his father and his mother as I do, so that our true nature, whoever does not love self-awareness, presence as I do, cannot become my disciple. So he's really speaking in using, like I said a few minutes ago, kind of crude words, but the meaning is the same. And when I say we, I'm speaking about consciousness. I am must release itself from its personhood, egoic identity. And that's what he's really pointing to here by using the word hate. I just don't think that word really in our language, because when he spoke that, he would have spoken it in Aramaic first, and then it would have been translated to Greek before it ever made it to English. So I don't know if that word hate is actually the right word as it was meant in the Aramaic language. I just don't think that fits in our language.
Yeah, I agree, because I think hate is just the absence of peace or acceptance or okayness. It really seems to stem from fear, or not peace with whatever's happening. So like you said something about letting go, releasing, accepting all that is, in not just, okay, well, I've got no choice, but knowing that all is as it is to be.
That's the meaning that I think was original, because that would be consistent with the teachings of even the teachings of Jesus in the Course, when you take the Christian language out, and or the other, or the teachings of Advaita are similar. There's duality in the teachings of Advaita that's less than the duality in the Course, but it's the same thing. I just think the words that were given to this, other pieces, other sayings that we've read already too, I think the wrong words were used from what may have been the Aramaic. So, but we all, we can read this and we can all see between the lines the same thing, what it must be saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol. And
Thanks.
Mel, what do you have to add?
I
Or are
was
you
just
going to read the next one?
I was just going to This made me think of Course of Miracles with special relationships. So it's like, we tend to, they're kind of, making the point that we have to see everyone as ourself and no division, no treat your mother more better than your father. Because even Jesus, didn't he say when his mother came, no one, I don't want to treat them differently than everybody else. So it's kind of saying, kind of speaking to that a little bit, maybe of that's
Yeah, it's so the special relationship is there's two different types of special relationships in the course. One of the course's special relationships is the special relationship that you have with other people, and usually a partner, spouse, or could be anything, or it could be things, other objects. Could be your money, could be your gender, could be your job or your role in life. A special relationship with that. But what the other special relationship is, and this is the main one, is the special relationship that consciousness has with a body-mind identity.
um,
That's the main special relationship where I am has identified itself as this. That's the one that gets released, and we use these other ones by removing the judgment from projections from uh, from things that are outside of me. By removing the judgments and the labels and the grievances, we're actually in the back in the unconscious guilt in our mind, we're actually releasing the I am identity from its special relationship as an egoic person identity.
watch it. Thank you.
Yeah,
That helps a lot.
yeah. Thank you for that comment and question. You want to read the next one?
Okay, sure. Let's see, we're on 102.
102.
Jesus said, "Woe to the Pharisees, for they are like a dog sleeping in the manger of oxen, for neither does he eat, nor does he let the oxen eat." Truth is love. In the absence of love, truth is concealed. The Pharisees neither pursue truth themselves nor permit others to do so. On the contrary, they seek to perpetuate ignorance. They remain with us today.
Yeah. Thank you, Mel. Yeah, and that's the when I see this woe, you see that first if you pick up the Bible. Woe unto you, Pharisees, or Sadducees. Woe unto you, so and so. And really for me, in the context of what is offered here, woe is just means notice the Pharisees, what they do. No, notice the Pharisees, for they are like a dog sleeping in the manger of oxen. And it was I just really like the way Cameron sort of interpreted that very accurately when he said the Pharisees neither pursue truth themselves. So it's all a show. It's like they do it in ignorance. You see it in priests, you see it in preachers, you see it in those they're really just it's, it, they're like and forgive me if anyone's a doctor. It's like doctors that they really they got into being a doctor because they wanted to heal, and when they went to medical school they found out that they don't really heal at all. They just peddle medicine and work on symptoms, and you hear doctors say that until they, maybe they move over to a holistic practice, or they stay in medicine, but they have a different way of navigating medicine. And the same with therapists that start out as therapists and work on the psyche, but they find out it's not about the psyche at all. It's about the spirit. So they move over to spiritual teachings. So yeah. Yeah, uh that was good. 102. Anyone else? We'll move to 103. who would like to read this, please? Is that you, Lynn, with your mic open? Do you want to read, or is your mic
Oh.
just open?
Sure, I can read. My apologies, I didn't know it was open. Jesus said, "Fortunate is the man who knows where the brigands will enter, so that he may get up, muster his domain, and arm himself before they invade." And I looked up what brigands were in the dictionary, and it's like a gang kind of thing, a highwayman, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Robbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We must become wise and undress ourselves. Investigation gives rise to self-knowledge. Yes. We come to understand the domains of thought, feeling, and sense perception. In turn, we come to know those subtle mentations that have the power to take us away from our true nature, where the brigands enter. Armed with this knowledge, we remain vigilant until, through investigation, all doubts have been rendered powerless and we find ourselves at peace. Nice.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about the brigands?
And it's just like that, isn't it? It's that ego coming and robbing you of your true self, sort of thing. You know, it just wants to take what you have, what is rightfully yours.
Yeah. And what about undress yourselves? What do you think that is?
Well, get
Or undress ourselves?
it's like to get to the bottom of it, like get really quiet, investigate, question everything, become open, become vulnerable.
He first says we must become wise. Of course, this is Cameron. This isn't what this is just an interpretation that Cameron has, but and undress ourselves, in my mind, it means set aside that those things that are clinging to us.
Yes.
Undress ourselves to come to the nakedness of our being.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what that says to me.
Right. And I love investigation gives rise to self-knowledge.
Yeah, and that's actually another piece of even what we're doing in this book study, because the investigation, the self-discovery, the contemplation, these words are being used to be to add the the piece that begins to notice, the piece that where he says, armed with knowledge, we remain vigilant. These little nuances of teachings, they become the armament, or the tool that that brings, or that kind of protects us from, or gives attention. Somehow it's used to see the influence of the thoughts that we used to follow, or the beliefs we used to follow, or those brigand robbers that we used to log into. And sometimes we still do, until we don't.
Yeah. And undressing is taking those labels off as well, you know.
That's good.
All
Yeah.
that all that we thought we were, that
Yeah.
was important. Yeah.
Yeah. Living in the no judgment zone. Yeah. Well, and that judgment, judgment just means you stay back to awareness that judges not. It's just the screen of presence. And really we can all move to that awareness that doesn't it's aware of thoughts, it's not the thoughts. The thoughts arise in that. And and that's where our altar of truth, that's where safety lies, that's where the peace of presence is uh, felt and known, inner peace.
Mhm. And I wanted to just back to that when is it Sandra that spoke of protesting as a young woman, and so now we're not protesting. Like, to be peaceful doesn't mean you can't say no, does it? No.
Yes,
Even
yeah,
though
exactly.
like,
You can say a hard no, and it's coming from your true nature. That's just, it's just a no. It doesn't
mhm,
have, it's not attached to an opinion, a belief, a fear. It's just no, 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 I'm not doing that. And you don't have to have a reason, because it's
yeah,
this clear no of certainty. And it could be based on past experiences that you just know the outcome of that. If you play with, if you play with that, it burns.
yeah. So something like the Vietnam War, if you were in your heart of heart knows that no, we have no business there. Not me, I'm a Canadian, but whatever. But you can still say no,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
doesn't have to be with hatred.
It was, I remember those years too. I'm 70. I just turned 70. I remember those years, and when those protests started happening by uh, uh, college students that were, 5 years older than me, and when the body count, kept coming on the news, and you knew all these, and you had friends and brothers that were coming back and, dead. That became alarming as we were coming into our young adult years. And I'm grateful for those protests, because that war was that was a senseless war that was decided by a few men that just, they just couldn't let go of the ego. And I'm grateful for the ones who went ahead of us with those protests. And Barbara, you don't look that old, so I don't know. You must have been a pretty young protester in those days. But thank you for doing that
I'm
for
older than you.
me. Uh, oh no, it was Sandra. It was Sandra. But
Sandra was.
but you too. Either
Well,
one
the
of you.
Canadians went down. I went down too to San Francisco and that, and we were all doing our thing down there too. But because the Vietnam War, we got a lot of the guys running up here, remember?
Oh yeah, I
And
was going to be
yeah,
one of them.
yeah. But I think a true thing here that we lose perspective of is that one in its true nature can still be called. It's like give unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. Many people, I believe, on the battlefield, I mean, they go into the battlefield and they find peace too. There
Hmm.
is peace there.
Yeah,
And that's what we, in true nature, consciousness is everywhere in everything. And
yeah,
I think some people can stand up for what they believe in the sense of their country and still be of true heart and love. I believe that. I think why not?
yeah.
I'm not saying you want to kill people, but if somebody came in to kill your family, what are you going to do? Well, yeah, they're not my family anyways. I'm really my true nature. Is that what you're going to do? I highly doubt it,
No.
right? We're not in that moment or called to that. And it is consciousness. And no, this is hard to get around. It is consciousness living itself to know itself in all expression.
Yeah,
So who am I to say what that expression is?
yeah.
Right. I agree with you. I marched too and did a lot of things in the 60s and 70s, but we were not going to talk about that. we're here now.
Yeah.
And it let us all, for some reason, it gave us that place. I will say that the drugs did help me get to a spiritual level quickly. That's all I can say. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Mum's a word. Okay. Who would like to read 104, please? I think we have time for at least one more. Maybe we'll get to 105 too. Barbara,
Might as well.
might as well. Thank you.
And I was going to say, anyways, what happened in the 70s stays in the 70s, kind of
Yes,
like
right.
Vegas.
Yeah, it's kind of like Vegas. Yeah. I agree.
I agree too. Anyways, 104. They said to Jesus, "Come, let us pray today and let us fast." Jesus said, "What is the sin that I have committed, or wherein have I been defeated? But when the bridegroom leaves the bridal chamber, then let them fast and pray." So Cameron says, on the journey, we may engage in many practices that helps us remain steadfast. But then the battle is won. There is nothing more to be done. Then is the time for celebration. Jesus encourages them to celebrate with him while he is in the world. I love that. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's true. Like sometimes we get so into our practices and into our teachings and into everything else. I think his words here, Jesus encourages them to celebrate with true nature, with being, while we're in this world. Like many people cut themselves off from it, thinking, they can't be in it and enjoy it, and it's so beautiful. It's got so much in it. And we're not, I've seen it where people actually won't go out their doors to even actually engage because they think they'll be that statement, the robbers will come and get you. One day you're just not interested in the robbers. If you need it that bad, take it. Who cares? It's I think that's a beautiful way celebrating this world, because I don't know if you remember, like back in those days, we used to, because we're all breaking away from the church system is what we were doing, and the rules of the church. That was the big thing in there. And we used to run around. That's where all the cults started up. But the one statement that always stuck with me was, sometimes Christians, including us in non-duality, that look like we're like a horse sucking a lemon, we get so serious. It's like, chill, baby. This world is to have fun, and it's harmless fun. You're not hurting anyone. You're just enjoying what's been created. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing place. That's all. That's what I get from this. I love this. Celebrate.
It was good. There was a line at the very end of Jesus's words that said, "But when the bridegroom leaves the bridal chamber, then let them fast and pray." And I think that's really more of a statement that when that happens, they will fast and pray. So they'll set aside their personal self identity in the fasting. That's what the fasting is. And the praying is just abiding in the self. It's just abiding in the true nature. That's all prayer is. It's the communication channel in consciousness that we have available all the time. And it's mostly discovered in a quiet place, in stillness, where words aren't used, thoughts are seen, and the self abides. Yeah. Thank you, Barbara. Let's see, we have 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and read 105. Who would like to do that? Last one? Is that Lynn? Come on down.
I get to say the word harlot. Jesus said, "He who knows the father and the mother will be called the son of a harlot." To know the father and the mother is to claim identity as their son. That is, to give precedence to this apparent reality and to deny one's true identity. Authentic investigation reveals the claim to be false.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. He who knows the father and the mother will be called the son of a harlot. So if I didn't know Cameron's, if I had just heard what Jesus said, I wouldn't understand it at all. So I need help there. So Cameron says, to know the father and the mother is to claim identity as their son. That is, to give precedence to this apparent reality and to deny one's true identity. Authentic investigation reveals the claim to be false. So then I think that to be called the son of a harlot then is negative.
Yeah. And I think there's more there. I think that's another word that has maybe a multiple meanings, has many languages, especially in the East. One word can mean four different things. And translated into English, I don't know if harlot is it, but the harlot to me in this context is the world, is identifying as the world or the son of the harlot. There is a Bible meaning for the harlot that is um it has a deeper meaning than whore or that kind of language. But and I'm the same. I wrote this is it would be very cryptic to me if I didn't have Cameron's what his interpretation is.
Yeah, and prior back we just talked about seeing your mother and father not as from a different point of view, not in enlightenment, and so if you give precedence to that, to knowing your mother and your father, and then you deny your true identity when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because there is no mother and father. He just spoke already to that.
Yeah, it sounds like you got some instant insight right there. Yeah. Barbara, what would you add to that?
Well, the mother and the father is, to me, it's just, it's not that it's not mother and father. It's your mother and father bound to you through body, mind. There is a physical world. I think not losing that. At the same time, remember, all things are happening at once. So it's not divisional. It's not divisional, separate out. And that when they say harlot, the first thing I thought of was selling yourself. You're selling yourself short.
Oh, that's good.
That's all. That's all it means is just selling yourself short, and that that's all it is. Yeah, because like I said, in the world as a body mind, yes, you have your father give unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, and then again know your true nature in that, and you see them anyways through love. It doesn't matter. That's all it is. It's the true nature. It's like what Jesus said: to be my disciple, you have to first be aware of your true nature. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be interested in following me. You wouldn't get it. That's how I read it. It's pretty simple.
Well,
I thought.
I love the selling yourself to the world is that's brilliant. That really nails it. Yeah, Lynn thinks so too.
Yeah,
Good.
I do.
Awesome. All right, you guys, it looks like we're at the end of our time, and thank you for being here. We'll look at 105 to 114 next week, and we'll finish this book. And you're welcome to join our book study on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And we're couple of months left on that book, the book Awake by Angelo DeLullo. And I'll be back at 3 o'clock for practicing presence. I think we're going to do about a 30-minute silent meditation. I'm going to talk for a few minutes, and if there's any questions, and I'll see you guys back at 3 if you're here. All right. Bye, everyone.